Let's talk protection, carrying protection, that is, while you are a female out in the wilderness, hiking perhaps in areas that are pretty remote and away from other people, and sometimes with exposure to animals like mountain lions and bears, etc. What I want to highlight first before I show some of the things that I have used is my comfort with carrying a weapon comes from about 30 years worth of handling firearms. When I was 10 years old, I did hunter safety course, had continual training just in our family with proper use and safety around firearms. When I was in my adulthood, I elected to do a concealed carry course. And that also just added further information around safety and also laws, specifically in the state of Arizona, around carrying a firearm, especially if you're planning on concealing. And so my knowledge with weapons is perhaps a little bit more than some females out there. My comfort around that is because of the historical background that I've had with them. And so I feel comfortable doing that, but I think it's really important that before anybody decides to purchase a firearm is honestly do some extra coursework and training, and then be familiar with your weapon, and do go out and have proper shooting lessons, or even just bring your firearm and make sure that you're handling it, you're firing it, and that you know all of the features of your weapon, so that way you can operate them and hopefully never have to use them in a safety reason, but that you've got comfort with that, and that you also operate within what the laws are. Some things that are important for me, so also on the element of making sure that you're familiar with your weapon, is I almost will always, before I'm getting ready to carry it, I will come and I will make sure, and I pull this out of the weapon and I open it up and I make sure that the barrel is empty, and I just make sure that I'm handling it and I'm familiar with it, and I remember what's the tension that it has on there, so that I can feel comfortable with the weight of it and where everything is. And so I go through a little ritual or routine before I ever decide to bring it along. My current preferred choice is to, when I'm hiking, is use this. This seems to be the best pack that I've been able to find for me to carry it outside of my normal backpack, which has my water, my snacks, and all my other things. This just seems to be the most comfortable for me. And so typically this is carried right into here, and it's right at the front area. And this is a full size. So it took a little bit to find the right pack that's going to be able to hold it and then secure it to me. So this is my preference. Some of the other ones I have up here that I have used, I've done the in the pant holster, which sometimes is just a little bit awkward and a little bit sweaty, but do have it as an option. This is another kind of across the chest but over the shoulder. Works okay, sometimes can be tricky with the types of packs that I have, and so I have it as an option, but for now this is my preferred choice. The other piece that's just tricky for many of these things is they're not necessarily made for women, and so our body types are a little bit different, obviously with breasts, and then when we're having some type of pack that we're using, I may not be using a hunting specific pack that has an attachment piece, and I'm trying to just use my normal day-to-day carry pack, and so being able to put it in a way that feels comfortable can be tricky. The other piece I didn't really care for this one is when I was in a seated position, perhaps when I get into my vehicle, it always felt like it was aiming at my person, and I just didn't like feeling like that gun was ready to go, like it was going to shoot into my femoral artery, and so I tend to prefer not to do that because it just feels uncomfortable for me. Now, the other option that I will do sometimes is just on my side here, I'll have a belt and carry it. Logistics are tricky for females because if we do need to use the facilities out in nature, anytime that we would bring our pants down, the weight of the gun typically drops your pants, and then all of a sudden your belt loop is off and then your weapon is on the ground. And so it just didn't feel like that was a really great way to carry it, but sometimes that is a feasible option, especially if I have a pack that's not well adjustable for where I need to hold it, essentially. Now, some other things that I always like to keep with myself would be a pocket knife. This can be a pretty effective deterrent if you felt like you needed to use it to protect yourself, but also just practical. Sometimes we need to cut things while you're out in the trails and you want to have access to something of that sort. Bear spray is also a tool I will carry. I will often choose to carry this over a weapon because the practicality of being able to aim and do this quick This is probably a bigger deterrent for more animals and also humans alike. That spray is a very wide spray, and it doesn't really require much skill set to do it. You literally pull and shoot, and then you make sure you get yourself out of that dangerous situation. So this is a by far better choice for most people to elect, especially if you don't have a history of training and comfort with a firearm. This is really, honestly, it's your best bet. That's kind of it for what I have here. So I think my goal with posting a video like this is I really want to support women who feel like they would like to be able to carry a weapon and get rid of that stigma that women can carry and be safe and have knowledge around the use of weapons or firearms specifically. Well, I guess you would lump all of these into really the weapon category. And every time I pass another female on the trail and I see that she's very quietly and discreetly has a firearm on her or a pocket knife on her, I honest to God want to run up to her and just be like, high five, great job protecting yourself. It's important to do that. I think when we do activities that are a little bit higher risk, and so this is where I'm at. It can be a lot of fun and excitement to go into remote areas and to be out there, but there is a real risk that comes along with that. So make sure that you are in a place where you can protect yourself. Have a great day.